beginning because we've been talking about Trans Awareness Week, and this is the first week, and maybe because I'm more a part of the community and because of what I'm doing now, I don't remember there being such a big talk about Trans Remembrance Day. Do you guys, and has there been before like this? Anyone?
I don't remember the world being so political and so aware or this divided at
Mm,
any point of my life.
mm,
So to have such an awareness now, I definitely think it's because people have really come to realize that it's going to take us to fight for us. So
mm.
we have a lot of people in positions that have been fighting for a long time for our voices to be heard. But I think now is one of those times that it's actually manifesting their hard work. And it's a different time right now in the world for
Mm,
us,
mm.
you know. And I think a lot of people are getting their voices heard in different ways that haven't before. Not just trans, but black people, um, other minorities. They got things going on over in Africa that, people are just starting to really find out about. You got like SARS and things of that nature that's going on. So I think it's just the times right now is a good time for everyone to really get their voices heard because people are kind of listening now and starting to pay attention and wake up. So for Trans Awareness Week is very, very important to be able to have your voice heard. And I really think it's just a reflection of the times.
And Jamie, I would pose the same question to you. How do you feel now that your voices are being heard, people are speaking out? How is this day for you and the week, as a matter of fact?
I mean, I think it's like it's essential. I think for my survival, I'm sorry, let me adjust. Yeah, I think it's essential for girls like me to know that, they matter and like that, things like this are here for us to all be kind of more cognizant and conscious of like, other people's presence in the world, diversity, and just how we need to just be more I think thoughtful around just other people's existence.
Instead, for you, grab any one of those mics. Just let me know which one you grab. Give you time to pose. As an ally to the community and as a part, an integral part of the community, how do you see the juxtaposition of the LGBTQ community, trans, and then the cisgender community coming together and really supporting the women that you upgird?
Well, I think it's like anything. We need to the community actually. It's like the Million Man March. You know, once you're there and you and everybody's together as community, then once you move on back, it seems that you leave everything back there. You don't bring it back with you, and everybody when they get together and they have the marches and show all the love and everything. But then after the march is over, they don't, the love is not there anymore, and it needs to be reinforced. So as far as what I would like to see the community do is not just uplift each other, but also it's time to start not doing so much talking, but helping, reaching out. You know, as an ally, I try to provide opportunity. And I think within that community, they should. And it's like anything, it shouldn't be I got mine, you got yours, or competition. If you all together, everybody wins. You see what I'm saying? If one of these artists really gets over, then we're gonna bring and pull somebody else. We're not gonna just stop there. And that's how even with Atlanta with music. That's why Atlanta has the stronghold with rap because everybody knows everybody and somebody pulled somebody with them, you know, and that unity needs to be within that trans community.
All right, that's a good question, and that's a good liftoff. Either one of you ladies that want to take this next question, as an artist in the community, have you seen that bond, that network really help you move forward? And is there actually a network, or like Stan alluded to, is there division? I'll go to Beverly first, and then I'll come to you. Beverly, have you seen a division, or is there really that network?
This is touchy subject because you never want to seem like you're going against the grain, but it's a slow and steady stream. I think that we are making an effort to come together and really try to better this community, because it's been a discussion for so long, and I think we need to stop talking about it. Like, okay, if everybody knows that this is a problem, we're all talking about the division, and like, if everybody's aware of that, why is that still a problem?
You know what? I'm gonna stop you there, because we were having the same discussion yesterday regarding the gay community in general, or the Black community. That's what we're talking about, and we were talking about. We've been saying what we need. We've been saying we know what we need. We talk about what we need, but where is that? So, what do you think, Jamie? What do we need to do to get what we need, and stop that division and that derision, and get to the place where we're like, okay, we already know, we're having the conversation, now where's the action? What do we need to do, or what do you see that needs to be done?
I mean, as far as division and all that, different stuff, I think so much of it is like rejecting some of the like negative imagery and negative things we're taught about what it means to be Black or what it means to be gay, even from very early on with like, the things we ingest as children. And I think just learning to begin to reject the things that we believe of ourselves. I think what you see in others is what you really see in yourself that's really manifesting and making you uncomfortable. So I think when we get really clear about ourselves and clear about the things that we allow into our mind, the things we listen to, the things we say to each other, all those things factor into how we feel about ourselves and what we project onto other people. So that's like number one, I think, more than anything, is just a stronger sense of self. I think you'll radiate love if you feel like you're full of love. And so I think that's what we need, and also to understand that we have the power and the ability to create whatever we want to manifest, whether it's wealth or love or happiness. All those things live within us. Black people, like, we're people of the sun. We have so much greatness in us. It's already there, and we just have to believe it.
Wow, good stuff. We're gonna take a break, and I'm already feeling like this So now, Krystal, now you have been here several times, and Jamie she's in her zhuzh now. She's good now, but you're kind of an expert. So let's talk about what's going on with the music, because that was your latest release. So let's talk about it. But what's going on?
Well, you guys, I'm actually very excited to be actually working on my EP now. I've released quite a few singles. Well, actually, I have 4 singles, but I have quite a few tracks that I perform and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and release an EP. I want to record one more song because I have quite a few raps, but I definitely want to show my versatility on the EP. To give you actually, what an EP is, an example of what the extended play would sound like. The long play would sound like. So I definitely want to have variety when I get to my album. So I want to record one more song, which is the title track, Queen of Spades. And it is a song that I sing as opposed to rapping. So actually the Come Up is the latest single, which is out on iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're streaming your music.
And it'll be here on WERUradio soon.
Yes, I actually just sent it over, so you have it now.
All right, great.
Whenever, it will definitely be heard. And yeah, I think that's what I am with my music right now.
All right, now Jamie, are you a recording artist as well with the label? Are you a recording artist as well with the label, or what are you doing?
What do I do? No, I'm not a recording artist. I just primarily work with 10 Cosmetics, and then I run my own like soap business, a vegan soap brand.
Well, let's talk about that. Turn your headphones down just a little bit.
I don't even know how to turn these down.
Oh, right there on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, turn them down just a little. Thank you. There we go. There you go. All right. So, since you made that introduction, tell us about 10 Cosmetics. That's an exciting thing that's happening with you guys, and how did that come about? The cosmetics line.
So it's something that me, Stan, and Krystal been working on for the past few months, and it's a great line. It's something I think is really exciting, and it's really primarily just lip products. So right now we have like a liquid matte lipstick, we have like lip glosses in different shades, collagen lipsticks, a matte lipstick. So it's pretty much all the things you need for the lips, and I think we've got the best, most luscious lips. So let's make them look really good. Hydrating formula. It's not dry. It's really great. I know with other brands, when you think of like the Kylie lip kits and a lot of other like cosmetics lines that are taking on matte, the liquid matte formulas, it can be very drying and make the lips look very chapped. And like this one's awesome, lightweight, almost feels like a stain for the girls who wear makeup. Feels kind of like a stain, so you don't really feel it on the lips. Super hydrating, and then support trans businesses, support Black businesses. So buy this and do not buy the others.
Yeah, well, and when you buy the others, you're not getting the quality that you get with C. So, now, what color are you wearing?
I am wearing black cherry. So, if you can see it, it's really amazing, sexy, nice,
What kind
and
is it? It's the
black cherry. Yep, liquid matte lipstick.
Okay,
black cherry.
Liquid matte, and it's 10. And where can they go and purchase it right now?
Transentertainmentnetwork.com is where you can go look at these products and pick out which one you want and purchase there.
Well, they're going to be available in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Right now, you can go to the website and check it out. What we're doing. We're just now in the final stages of it.
Okay.
So in about 2 weeks, it'll be available for purchase. We already have people already trying to pre-order it now, so the demand is there. I mean, and also we teamed up with a laboratory out of Florida, and the chemists formulated it to what I was looking for, women of color.
Well, what color you got on?
Well, I wear mine at home, like I told you. I don't come out in public in it just yet.
Okay, all right.
But
Okay,
when I do.
so how was that process? Because you guys are music artists. So how did you say, okay, we're gonna step into the makeup business? And how was that conversation? And what was that process for you guys?
Well, for me, it was something I always wanted to do, and so I had to research. I had to find a company to do it. And we found one, and to the specifications of it. I always had been a big fan, coming from Chicago, Fashion Fair Cosmetics. And back when I was a lot younger, I got a chance to actually intern there, and just saw how the operation went.
Okay.
And the way it was when, on Johnson Products, Johnson was the magazine, and then on the 4th floor was the pink room. Everything was pink. Okay. And that's where all the nurse and it was, the makeup artists, and they were creating, and so that stuck in my mind. So with the trans community and what we do, I just felt that we can have a product that's actually, because it's trans owned,
right,
and all run by trans women. So it's trans owned and operated, and the whole and I've been approached by guys and makeup artists that want to work with us.
Okay.
But I want to put those opportunities into the trans community solely right now.
Yeah.
Because they always get the trans women really don't get those opportunities. And so what we're also going to be doing is where people can make some money on it. We're going to be having it similar to Avon, Mary Kay.
Okay.
So we're doing that. We have affiliate programs. So let's say that on your website, you just have 10 cosmetics. If somebody clicks that and purchases it, you're going to get a commission on that.
I'll take that, please.
Okay? And you'll get a commission on that. And so this is an opportunity for a lot of the girls to make some money, because they can even just have their own website.
Okay.
You pay, $12 a month for a website, and you push that website and you push these products. The commission is going to be substantially good the way we're going to give it out, the way we're going to do it, where they can make some money. And this is part of what trans awareness is all about, because you have to have those opportunities. And you can't be what you can't see.
Okay.
So when I was teaching school, that's what I would tell your environment and things you see. If you live in the projects and you just see drugs and pimps and stuff, that's what you know.
Certainly.
So you get out that environment. And so when you see opportunity and we're going to be supporting this and helping it happen. We're going to help with them if they need help setting up their website.
Yeah.
Things like that. Then they can branch off to other things because now you become, entrepreneurial.
Yeah, so it becomes a mechanism to help people in the community. Oh, I completely get it. I love that. And I think that is where, when you talked about fashion fair,
right.
I'm of that age,
right.
where that was around, that was their motive.
Right.
They wanted to help and empower a community to be able to do that. Now, I want to branch off into the conversation because this is a great branching off point, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was in the trans community, there is an ideology of what being trans looks like.
Right.
If you're passable or not passable, if you and this is a thing. So, and I want to talk about that because how does that affect the way you move in a community, and how does the fact that people try to define trans as a look rather than an identity? In either one of you that wants to answer that first.
I don't know.
That's another one of those tough, touchy spots. There's too many gray areas to give a definite answer, because I think that definitely boils down to the individual. As far as how it affects me personally, those type of things haven't affected me since I was younger. I think those are immature things and issues. I think they are vague and vain issues. So those type of things don't affect me personally. I've learned to overcome them. So for people that actually are still dealing with that, I don't want to make it seem like it's an obsolete issue, because it is an issue. So if there's anybody out there that's dealing with those insecurities, you really have to just pull from within yourself. You have to go really, really deep down inside yourself and find inner confidence and pull out whatever it is that you want to be, and be okay with that, because people are going to put labels, people are going to judge, people are going to tear you down for whatever reason. I don't know why people love to do that so much. I don't get it.
Right.
But we, like I say, it's awareness, so we have to be aware of these things and work on it, right? So this is another one of those common conversations, common subjects. So we know that this is a problem. Why aren't we doing anything to lift each other up? My sister, I just tell her all the time, you are beautiful.
Absolutely
you are
gorgeous.
Radiant,
Absolutely.
Stunning.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Period.
So I guess I'll ask you the same question, because especially with a lot of times the beauty is defined about how passable you are, and that's what I really want to talk about, because there are transgender people who are making a transition and maybe are not passable, and they are then defined differently, or I want to use the sensitive word, not. They'll be called a drag queen instead of trans because they don't look cis passable. Do you find that as a problem in the community?
I mean, I think, like, piggybacking off what Krystal said, I think it's like a person-to-person thing. So as far as passable, I think everyone has different goals for their transition. So you can't really, trans doesn't have a look. And I think the visibility we're seeing these days is helping people understand that trans doesn't have a look. But I do want to put things in context when you think about, for one, we're in Atlanta. So, the ability for girls to move without being passable is not really as much of a threat to safety. I know for girls in previous generations and older girls, and even in certain places in the United States now, you have to also think about safety and think about, if you are not as passable, how that could leave you as a target for violence or being in uncomfortable social situations, being discriminated against in employment. Those are real factors. So I don't want to dismiss the search or the journey to trying to be passable or be more binary based is something that's not valid, but it's not as necessary. And I think that's the beautiful thing, that now we as trans people can define what we want to look like and what we want to, be like. It's not as constraining. It's not as much of a safety risk, I think.
Now let's talk about that, because this is where we are, and we just read the names of all of the people that we've lost this year due to violence. Because they just want to be who they are in a community where they want to live around people that look like them, and they are supposed to be safe around. So when we talk about safety, what is it that you think is the dysfunction? Why are we seeing these young women and men who are murdered, maligned, and and I hate to say it, but it's a fact. If she were cisgender white, or he were cisgender white, it would be an issue. And I see you calling there, so just hold on for me there. Hold 1 minute for me there. If they were cisgender white, they would be on CNN, MSNBC, and everywhere. This is what happened, but you don't see that. So why do you think that is where we are with our transgender community? What is it? What is the dysfunction, do you think?
I mean, for me, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe, what we speak and what we ingest and what we like take on is what manifests in our lives. And so I don't know, I personally feel from my experience that the issue, I can only speak for myself, the issue for me when I was in very risky situations was just being lost. I think there's a prevailing culture in Atlanta and even in the United States now that glorifies, the objectification and commodification of Black bodies. And that's something that we too freely, it's too free. And what I mean by that is, the glorification of limited options, like that, as if the only option to wealth is through sex work, as if the only option to feeling liberated and powerful in your womanhood as a trans woman is through hypersexuality. And that's not true. It's not that you should be ashamed of those things, but I think the music we listen to, the things we spend our times doing, the ways we spend our time are so valuable. And I think it's important that people take the time to think of, where they're going, what they're doing, who they're hanging with, the things that they're saying, the shows they're watching, the music that they're listening to. All that, really develops into like a sort of a brainwash. It's indoctrination. And you listen to music that tells you to do this and do that over and over again, you're going to start to operate in that way. You're going to, manifest those things. And it's very important that people and trans people are conscious of the things you're letting into your mind. We're sacred and special people. And,
Wow.
we need to be
Wow.
conscious.
Let's see if we can get this phone call. Now, this is my first time. Miss Sophia is the professional at this. I am not. So let's see if we can get him on the phone. Good morning. We Are You Radio? Hello? Good morning. We Are You Radio? Are you there? Good morning. We Are You Radio? I know you're there. So let's do this. We just going to do old school. Can we do old school real quick? Good morning. We Are You Radio? How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning.
And who are we speaking to?
You're speaking with Tashi LaBeija.
Hi, Tosh.
Tashi LaBeija.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is good to hear from you now, Tasha. I hear there's some great news happening with and when we say the name LaBeija, can you give us the history on that real quick? Because I know the name, but there's many that don't. So please help us.
So a quick crash course in the name LaBeija. I say we're the first house of ballroom. We're older than the Super Bowl, but the House of LaBeija all originated off of racism. The founder, Krystal Beverly, she found herself in a predicament where she was at a pageant, but it was ran and generated by the white gays. And she, being a dark-skinned trans woman, she figured that she would paint herself to be light-skinned, and she would paint herself to be white, and win the pageant. She owned the best gown, the best hair, the best makeup, and she looked good. But she lost to another contestant named Marlo, who was white, and not just because of she was white, but her look in the pageant world was basic. And so immediately at that point, Krystal Beverly knew that it was discrimination, and the instinct of what she felt about not coming to the pageant, and the reasons why the other dark-skinned girls told her not to come, is what she was going through. So at the instant of when she realized that and was walking off the stage, someone yelled out to her, "La Beja," and she figured that the word was being shady, or somebody was being shady towards her. But in the instant, the Spanish guy was calling her beauty in the sun. And so go on some more years, she called the House of LaBeija Beauty in the Sun, and that's how it all got started, for a short, quick crash.
Wow, that's history in 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Little known Black history fact. Now I hear there's an announcement, and I'll allow you to announce it, and then I will let them chime in. So why don't you help us with the announcement of the new members of the House of LaBeija?
Perfect. Well, me being, I've been a member of the House of LaBeija for 2 years. I've walked my little course, and I've moved to Florida, and I became the godmother of the Gulf Coastal chapter of the South, basically. And so right now we're in the process of spreading our house wide and far, in Atlanta being one of the places that we wanted to touch the most, but really take our time and pick some influential people with the right criteria that can, better help carry the name LaBeija in the right light. So therefore, I've been knowing Mr. Stan for a very while. I spoke to him once upon a time, but we only met once. I never really spoke with him, but I kept that professionalism and his aura stayed with me. And so at this time, we were looking for the House of LaBeija father, and I've chosen to take Stan Lucas as being the overall father of the Atlanta chapter for the House of LaBeija.
Wow. So is that the first time there has been a father of the House of LaBeija?
For the Atlanta chapter, yes.
Wow. So that is a huge honor. Now I'm going to let him speak to that, but go ahead and tell everybody who you are once again, and if they want to get in touch with the House of LaBeija, how do they do that?
You simply go to Instagram or to Facebook or Twitter. We have the official House of LaBeija page. You can't miss it. It'll give you all the history. My personal page is on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Is Tosh LaBeija. It's very LaBeija, LABEIJA. Same thing for Instagram and Facebook for everyone. But yes.
And thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to talk with them now, and thank you for giving us a House of LaBeija here in Atlanta. And anytime you are in Atlanta, please stop by our studio. I would be honored that you come through.
I surely will. You guys have a great and safe morning.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about that real quick, because that's not anything that we can just trip over. How does that feel to be the father of the House of LaBeija? You got to say it like you just got the House of LaBeija. How is that staying for you? How is that?
It's first of all, I'm flattered that they even approached me about doing it, and so I look forward to the challenge of it and learning the ballroom scene.
Now, first of all, Stan, can you vote?
Oh, I'm working on my vote. I'm getting my legs together to do the vote, but I'm getting there though. I can.
Okay then, because you gotta show the kids. Got to show the kids.
Yeah.
Now, as a father of the House of LaBeija, and we got to take this break in a few. But as a father, now that puts you at, you are a covering for a host of kids that need a place to belong.
Right.
And that's a huge responsibility. And now you're the mother, right? Correct? Of the house. Well, by default, we'll talk about that later. I'm working for you.
Well, she always wanted children, so now she has them.
Right. But that's a huge responsibility. How is that for you?
Well, like I said, I look forward to the challenge of it. And it also feeds into, like I said, when I was teaching school, I always bonded with the students, and it went more than just a classroom. There were deeper things going on in the home, and so I was always, even with the trans community, I'm always finding ways where we can make things better. Mm-hmm. And so with this, I think with like Tasha's help and what we're going to be doing in Atlanta, I think we can really help a lot of people. I think I look forward to it. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of overwhelming, and
I can imagine.
I've been watching Legendary over and over again, and and then looking at polls and seeing how Billy Porter, So I'm doing my homework, I've been watching Legendary. I've been practicing up there now, and
all right, we ready for we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to you. We're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back to you. But when I tell you, I am proud of you guys because that is historical. That is. So are you going to be a member? I'm just say asking.
I guess so.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be back, and we're going to talk some more. That this woman would walk up to her and ask her this question. And we talked about this during the break, and I'll go to you, Beverly, but you, Jamie, had a great answer too. So I'll start with you. As a transgender person, why and how would you answer it, and do you think that it was a justified response?
It's never, I don't think it's ever justified to ask anybody any personal questions about their body. What people decide to do with their body is up to them. If they want to disclose it, it's up to them. But for you to just kind of ask, I think that's an American thing where people are comfortable asking people personal questions, especially when it comes to cosmetic issues. And I think people dumb it down to simply a cosmetic issue when it's oftentimes deeper than that. It's a lifestyle change for us, and it's personal. So when you ask these questions, I don't even think that people are aware. I think they're very oblivious to the fact that they're being or crossing the line a little bit. Now, sometimes it's just a question, and we shouldn't take offense all the time when someone asks you a question. It's different than generalizing or making a statement about you than them asking a question because they genuinely want to know or their ignorance. But you can kill two birds in one stone and say, that's kind of personal. You probably shouldn't ask people that, but here, I'm going to educate you and let you know, yes, this is that. It's each own. Some people will say that's none of your business.
No, yeah.
You can leave it at that. So I don't want anybody to feel like you don't have the right to tell a person that's none of your business. And it doesn't have to be a trans issue. If it's a woman to a cisgender woman to another cisgender woman who wants to know if she got her boobs done, that's none of your business. Unless I say, hey, I went and got my boobs done. Now the floor is probably kind of open because you put it out there. Now I can ask, well, who did it, or how was it, this, that, other. But if we're just sitting and you know that I'm a trans woman and you decide, well, I'm just gonna ask her. And especially if we don't have that type of relationship, I just think it's manners. People just don't have manners, and it's like I said, it's an American thing. People respect cultures and boundaries, and in other cultures, rather, people respect people more. People don't have that here in America. It's a free for all, and with people abused, freedom of speech, and all of that, it's a right, but it needs to be treated more as a privilege,
right?
Because you shouldn't just say whatever comes to mind. I even tried to, tell Stanley, before we go on air, some things are better left at the kitchen table. It's okay to make your points, but some things are just kitchen table talk. You can't just go in public and just say how you feel. If you disagree, it's okay to say that, but you never want to be offensive, and you don't want to just be asking people personal questions, because if the shoe was on the other foot, even if you were more open to those type of conversations, you have to know that everybody is not. Right. And that's how you shut people down and get them closed off.
And I want to give you a chance to answer that, because you had a similar answer, but it was in a different pose as regarding the India Moore situation.
I first want to just give respect and honor to India Moore for setting solid boundaries for herself and being clear about what she's comfortable with and what she's not comfortable with. That's very powerful as a woman, to be sure of yourself, whether it's popular or not. So I don't want to discredit that. But yeah, I do think it's in the era of social media and the era of celebrity, there's a lot of putting ourselves out there that we all do, and I think sometimes when you're placing yourself in that position of like public discourse, and you're putting your, you know, Instagrams out, and you're putting photos out, and you're choosing a public based career, there's a certain level of criticism you have to be prepared for. So I think, you know, there has to be some like consciousness around that. People will be curious about, you know, people's bodies as cisgender or transgender. And so I think, you know, that has to be something that people think about when they're placing stuff on social media, when they're putting themselves out there in certain ways. You know, just be very aware of that for sure.
Now, the tone and the tenor of where we are now, Pose, you know, seeing stars like India Moore and Angelica Ross and all of the like, puts a new vocabulary, a new dialogue, a new visibility on transgender people, and that's great, and that's progress. But do you see, as transgender entertainers, as transgender people in the community, especially in the Black community, do you see it as all pros, cons, or is there a level of both? Because let me put it in context. In the gay community, we see a lot of feminine men portrayed in roles, as if we are all just femme. And so for you, seeing those people, that visibility, is it only giving one tone to the conversation, to our identity, to how you got?
It's a known fact that trans people throughout the history of television have been depicted as either a murderer, a scammer, or someone trying to, a trickster or something. They've always been depicted in negative light, and I mean from black and white films, when they had burly men dressing up with wigs, and those are the images that people saw. And as Jamie said earlier, media has the biggest influence. Television, radio, the things that you allow into your eye gates and your ear gates, they do manifest. And what you see is what you believe. And those were the only representations that we had. And so they painted negative images of us. So people, one, were afraid of us. Mm-hmm. And two, did not understand us. Right. And so now we have, I know, Laverne Cox was on a TV show, and I think they aired 2-3 episodes, and she was in a relationship with a white guy, and they, you know, had intimacy, and the show was canceled. And I think that was one of the efforts of trying to depict trans women in a normal light, because she played, I think she had a business professional role, and she was in a straight relationship with this man, and it was one of the efforts to normalize trans living, because her role that made her famous, she was a criminal in Orange is the New Black, and it was that same stereotype of painting us not as bad people, but she was in a bad situation. Certainly. So when you get shows like Pose, I mean, they don't try to sugarcoat us or butter us up. They tell us the raw truth of, you know, what we go through. You know, there's sex work and everything else in between, but that don't make us bad people, because all people do sex work, you know, and all people do scams or whatever, you know what I mean? But they're showing us more normally, and now we're at a point where people can watch these films and empathize with us. We don't need your sympathy, but you can now empathize and realize that we have our own struggles, which I don't know why that's so surprising, you know, and that we've overcome a lot of them, which that seems to be the surprising part. But there are definitely people in position, from TV, film, to politics, sports, as I say all the time, that are definitely upholding us in positive lights. And so that's what we're trying to do here at 10 as far as the music is concerned, because we don't have mainstream trans artists. Not to say that there's not any popular ones out there, or that there's not anybody out there making any noise. There definitely are other trans artists out there that are great. They have good followings. They are also shedding positive light on our living, but they haven't gone mainstream yet to the point where I can say, hey, we have Laverne Cox in acting, you have such and such over in politics, I can't think of any names right now, modeling, everything, you know, but not really in the music yet. So that's what we're trying to get to. Because like I said, we are moving forward. It is a slow and steady stream, but if we continue to let it seep, you know, eventually it will fill into the rest of the world. Now, hate and racism and discrimination, those are things that we can, it's very hard to just change people, you know what I mean? We can fight discrimination, we can fight segregation. You can't really fight homophobia and racism, because that's a state of mind. And although we can change people's minds, it's harder than changing how they treat us. And there's the difference between, you know, racism and segregation. You know, segregated is what you're doing to me because you're racist.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So the racism part and the homophobia and the pure hate, is really not a lot we can do about that. But we can set our boundaries on how you're going to treat us and respect us. And I think that I think we're making progress, and there are people that are definitely putting themselves out there, you know, and we have, like we were discussing last night, there's a difference between an activist and an advocate. Okay? And what people need to realize with us is that we are not active advocates. You know, an advocate is a person that speaks on a subject. You know, we got people like, well, why you ain't beating down the Mayor Lansbottom's door, and how many times have you went and did this and that? We are activists. We actively do our part to shed positive light on our community. We go to marches, we go to different events, and we carry ourselves in a certain light. We try to employ and, you know, other trans people. That's what we do. We are actively doing things. And I think people get that confused as well.
And I would love to carry on this story, but we are out of time. I just wanted to say thank you all of you.
Thank you, George.
This was an amazing conversation. It really was, especially on this day. I couldn't ask for more well-versed, well-spoken guests to be on the show today. Wow, and I continue to leave the door open. You guys, whenever you have something coming, y'all know y'all family. Y'all are family.
Thank you.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you have learned something and have seen something and have heard something that's given you a little bit more insight into who and what the trans community is, what the needs are, and how to see them and us, because they are us. We are you. See how I did that there?
Yeah.